It's time to start adding some feminine characteristics to our character. If we take a look at the difference between the neck area, we're going to add a neck to it first. The neck area of a masculine character and the neck area of a feminine character. The feminine character, it goes down first a little bit longer and then it curves out. With your masculine character, it's curving down and out at the same time. A common problem that I see when students add a neck is they start under the chin. Don't do this, just watch. When you start your neck directly under the chin, it creates like this very skinny little cartoon neck. If I zoom out, you can see kind of how funny that is. Here's the real area that we need to focus on when it comes to starting our neck. We put in this center mouth line for a reason. That's truly about the area where the neck is going to start. So if you place your finger on the mouth line and pull it to the side, this is about where the neck is going to start. You can put a little light X there. I'm going to do it heavy so that it shows up on the camera. And if you pull across this way, you can put about an X here. I'm only doing it heavy so it shows up on the camera. So I'm not doing a totally horizontal line. This line has a slight curve to it. I'm only doing mine heavy so it shows up on the camera. I'll do the same on the other side. This line slightly curves in and then curves out. Try to make sure that they are the same length. Like I see that this one's a tad bit longer than that one. So either I need to make this one longer or shorten this one up like a millimeter. Now, her shoulders, or this person's shoulders, are going to be cropped off the edges. Like if I zoom out, you don't really see the edges of her shoulders where they turn into the arm. You just see the top parts of the shoulder. That's what we're about to go for. It's a slightly diagonal line. It slightly curves down. It almost looks like it's horizontal, but it has a slight curve down. I'll do the same on this side. There, it's looking nice. It's time to focus on the chin area. Looking at the differences between a feminine and masculine chin, the masculine chin it's wider, and the feminine chin is more narrow and curved. So your chin might already be narrow and curved. It just depends on how you curved this line out earlier. I'm going to take a moment and make this chin a little bit more narrow. It's very boxy looking, which would work for a more masculine face. But to do this, I can, let's see, start at the bottom and curve more in, and I'll end up erasing that extra out. Start at the bottom and curve more in. Now, this extra right here is what we're going to erase out. And when I do that, this person has more of a narrow, rounded chin. We no longer need this horizontal line going across the face. Let's take the time to erase out the horizontal line that is going across the face and through the eyes. We want to clean up the eyes, clean up the area that's in between the eyes, and clean up on the sides and whatever might have gone through the ears. I've zoomed in to focus on the eye area. We are going to start doing loose, sketchy circles and make the circle slightly too tall for the almond. So loose, sketchy circles. I'm slowly growing the circle bigger and bigger until the top part is going a little bit over the almond and the bottom part is going a little under the almond. The same on the other side. Loose and sketchy circles, growing them bigger and bigger to where the tip top of the circle goes over the almond and the bottom part is slightly jutting out underneath the almond. Now let's erase the small little part that jutted out on top of the almond, the small little part that jutted out underneath the almond. I'm noticing that my eye doesn't have very much of an eyelid. I'm just going to lower down this top of the almond a bit more. I'm noticing now that I made it too high up. And then I can erase out this part right here. I'm going to just bring down a little bit, just millimeters down, the top part of this almond so that it goes over more of the circle. I just need it more circle to disappear behind the eye area. Not everybody needed to do that though. Add your smaller circles on the inside. The eyelid line is kind of like making a bridge over the top of the almond. The sides don't connect. Like I leave a little bit of space here and a little space there, space here and space there. The bridges don't actually connect and touch the almonds. When I do eyelashes, I'm doing waves, and on this side, the waves go this way. The waves are small in the center, and they steadily get a little bit longer and bigger towards the edge. On this side, in the center of the eye, the waves are now going to point this way. They are small on top in the center, and they steadily get longer and a little bigger close to the edge. And you can take your pencil, not too terribly heavy, and fill them in so that they pop forward in space. When it comes to eyebrows, if you start them way down here, they're going to look funny. You want to skip some space, and you need to just do this lightly. It's going to take some time for you to sculpt the eyebrow. I start with kind of a rounded long rectangle first, and when I get to this side of the circle, I kind of go down some, and even I am going to have a little bit of trouble making the other one match. It's a process of moving and erasing and shifting things around. I'm going to start my rounded rectangle in the same area. If you draw an imaginary line across this one, then you know where to start it, so that you don't have one eyebrow up higher than the other. Let's see. A bit of a rounded rectangle. And when I get to this part, that's when I know it starts curving down slightly. Nice. This is a zoomed in piece of paper to talk about noses, and this can be used for feminine faces or masculine faces. I want for you to just watch some options. Take a look at this right angle right here, these two right angles. We're just watching. If you put a parentheses right in this angle and another parentheses right in this angle, then your character is going to appear to have a slender, pointier nose, okay? There's another option, and it comes down to just moving little millimeters. So I'm erasing this out. If you want your character to have a little bit of a flatter and wider nose, just a little bit, nothing crazy, nothing too exaggerated, you just go a little bit on the outside and make your parentheses connect here to the right angle, and do an ending parentheses on the outside and connect it to the right angle. It's going to give you an ever so slightly flatter and wider looking nose for your character. There are some lines that we need to erase that are in the way. Erase out this horizontal line right here. Also, don't erase out your parentheses. Erase out kind of around the parentheses, leave them there. Then you can get rid of both vertical lines. I want to point out the center of this parentheses. Don't draw this, I'm just pointing it out. This is the center of this parentheses, and this is the center of this parentheses. I'm pointing out the center because we're about to put some long negative signs or minus signs slightly below the center, and also they cannot touch the parentheses, so there's some rules with them. This negative sign is below the center. Here's the center. I put in a long negative sign below it, and look how there's a space right here. It does not touch the parentheses. On this side, I can try to match it as much as I can. I'm doing a long minus sign. I'm doing a long minus sign, and I'm making sure that it does not touch the parentheses. I can lift this one up a little bit to match it better. So we have these two minus signs, and they do not touch the parentheses. It's time to create a shallow letter U or a wide long letter U. If you're right-handed, then you'll be doing it this way, but because I'm left-handed, I'm going to sketch slightly down and over this way and pull up into that negative sign over there. Just like in our previous lesson where we learned how to draw eyes, we're going to make some lines that give the illusion that the nose is coming up and off of the face. On this side, I'm going to have a line go a little bit almost connected to the eyebrow, pulling slightly in and aiming it towards this parentheses and slightly aiming towards the parentheses. I won't make them all the way connect because it'll end up being too distracting. On this side, it's going to be not as long of a line. I'm going to skip some space down from the eyebrow and curve slightly in and kind of aim. I'll aim towards this parentheses, but I won't bring it all the way there. Just some simple information lines. We're going to focus on this horizontal line, and we want to put a extremely shallow letter U. Like this is a pretty shallow U here. We're going to do one even more shallow directly underneath it. So we want to make sure that this extremely shallow U ends up being directly underneath this one. And I'm going to do this heavy you shouldn't. This U is so incredibly shallow, like this. And on my main character, that U looks like this. It's so tiny and shallow. That's what we're doing right now. Then if this was like our digital art program, if you could copy this shallow U and move it up some and paste it, that's what we need to do next. However high up you move this is how big the top lip is going to be. So some people will move this up to here. For this character who has fuller lips, I actually skip space pretty much to about here. To put in that fuller lip, to put in this shallow letter U. Now there's a line that we don't need anymore. We don't need this tiny line that is inside of this U. Erase that out. It's so little on your paper. Now what we're going to do is visit this side of the extremely shallow letter U and curve a little up, over, and bring it into the corner or the edge of this line, which is going to be the corner of the mouth. Then on this side of the shallow letter U, we're curving slightly up, over, and to that corner. Common mistake that people do with the bottom lip is they start right at this edge here. We're not starting at these edges. Find your edge and actually go in some. See how I've gone in? Now I'm going to do a slight kind of curved diagonal line. Then on this side, I'm not going from the edge. I'm going in some and doing a diagonal curve line. Then I'm going to do a diagonal curve line to combine them. And on my character, it ends up creating this here. I also on my character have moved my chin down some more. Some people, when they put in this bottom lip, they're gonna have like a tiny chin. Is gonna look funny. If that's so, then just move your chin line down some more.